Well, we are in a heated race for the technical foul league leaders. Wright extends his lead over Luka with this little shove. He's at 14. Luka now 2 behind Nick. You got to give him a shout. If he really wants to make that MVP case, you try to lead the league in as many categories as possible, including technical fouls. It shows the voters an intensity and a championship drive. Remember, you get suspended at 16. Dwight might get up there, take a day off. So come on, Nick, give Luka a shout. Maybe less complaining to the refs. Push a guy, pull a Grayson Allen, trip a guy.
Luka does
maybe,
lead the league in whining.
Throw something into the stand.
Luka leads the league in whining. He absolutely, absolutely, undoubtedly.
All right, we got to play the little over-under. Fox Bet Sportsbook released team win totals for the upcoming NFL season, and we had a field day with it. So let's run through a couple teams. Start with Super Bowl champion Buccaneers. Win total for them set at 11.5. Remember, 17-game season this year. Brandon, will the Bucs have over or under 11.5 wins this season?
Super Bowl champion Bucs, that's who we're talking about, Jenna? Are they returning
That's who we're talking about.
Coach Goodwin? Are they returning Keith Armstrong, Byron Leftwich, their head coach? We got Todd Bowles and all 22 starters. I got to go with the over, excuse me. Absolutely. This kid, Tom Brady's coming back. They have more chemistry continuity on the offense. They have their identity now. So I'm going with the over here, and it's not even a question.
Well, it's a bit of a question because 11.5 is a big number. But the audience should remember for all of these, there's 17 games now. So 11, and there is no more 11-5. You're 11-6 or you're 12-5, so on and so forth. And whenever I'm doing these season win totals, I take a particular look at what divisions are you matched up with other than your own, of course. And the entire NFC South gets the AFC East and the NFC East. Arguably the 2 weakest divisions in the NFL. The continuity, I think, going to be a soft-ish schedule, even though they just won the championship. The coach is coming back, as Brandon mentioned. I'm also going with the over. This feels like a 12-5 season after last year's 11-5 season, so I'm going with the over.
Okay, Jenna, I'm going with the under. When we talk about the AFC East, Tom Brady's coming into Foxborough. He is not winning that game. I don't know what type of shenanigans we'll have to pull. We're going to go into Bill Belichick's deep, dark bag of chicanery, Harry Potter style, but they are not winning that game. Here's the thing. Did the Bucs get better? I hear continuity. I heard they stayed the same. I hear we're going to run it back. But no one has showed me that they've gotten better. Oh, they get a full offseason. Well, so does everybody else. That's a wash. So until I see the Bucs getting actually better, I'm saying that they're under, Jenna.
Debbie Downer. On to Wild's Patriots now.
It's just the truth.
With all those shenanigans they're going to be pulling when Brady comes to town, in the understatement of the year, they weren't great last season. Just 7 wins, but many are expecting them to bounce back in year 2. Post-Tom. Win total set at 9.5. Brandon Marshall, will the Patriots have over or under 9.5 wins?
Over. They found a way to win 7 games last year with that team. They found a way. Look, they went out there, and we know it. They got a lot of guys in free agency. But that's one part of the story. Last year, that team wasn't smart. We're talking about penalties. We're talking about hurting themselves in situational football. They almost beat the Bills. They almost beat Seattle up in Seattle. Bill Belichick, you got to believe that that's what he's harping on this year outside of just bringing this team together is the fundamentals. If you jump off sides, take a lap. If you hold someone, take a lap. That's what makes this team really good. And last year, they just didn't get the job done in that category last year, Jenna. So I got to go with the over because Bill Belichick is still the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah, I'm also going to go over. My guess is it'll be a clean sweep in overs. Last year, they won 7 games, as Brandon mentioned, with bad luck, terrible quarterback play, lack of skill positions, guys opting out. I don't think they are going to threaten anyone for a championship this year. But could I see them getting to 10-7 in that division? And by the way, they get the AFC South. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the over
We usually
for the
cut
Patriots.
Nick off. Well, that's my
Yes,
fault. I'm sorry.
before
I
he
told
gets
them
to
when
the
you to
AFC.
cut your mic off when you were having the Julian Edelman slander. I thought it might pop up again in this block, so I said preemptively cut Nick off after 30
No, it's fine.
seconds. That
I
was
didn't
my
want to. Wilds, I'll be honest, I was sick to my stomach talking about it. I was saying good things about the Patriots. I'm glad they cut me off. They should just do that every time. So go ahead. It didn't bother me at all. I was nauseous. Okay. So go ahead.
All right, I'm going way over, way over. Here's the thing. Patriots are facing a lot of new people. Granted, we have a new team, but Bill Belichick is the Rock. Falcons have a new coach. Jags have a new coach and new QB. Saints will have a new QB. The Jets will have a new coach and a QB. Panthers new QB. Texans new coach and new QB. Colts new QB. I think Bill Belichick is going to feast on all this newness, and we will rise back atop the AFC East.
So continuity New England is good. Continuity in Tampa, not as good. Move on to Cleveland now. Baker and the Browns broke through last year. Won 11 games before eventually losing to the Chiefs in the divisional round. But their total set at 9.5 for this upcoming season. Brandon, will the Browns have over or under 9.5 wins?
I'm going to go under here, Jenna. Baker Mayfield did a phenomenal job last year protecting the ball. Let's see if he can do that again. But when I look at their schedule, they got a tough schedule. You got Detroit, maybe that's a win. You got Houston, maybe that's a win. You got Denver and potentially Chicago. Outside of that, you have some real games. You know your division is already hard. So I have to go with the under here, Nick, because I don't think this team has enough to really contend.
So they need to get better on the back end of their defense. There's no question about that. And it would be nice if Myles Garrett can play the full season. And Brandon is absolutely correct that the schedule is brutal. Brandon listed the only 4 what you would consider easy games, plus potentially the 2 against Cincinnati. Every other game is going to be, no pun intended, a dogfight. But 10-7 hits the over. Last year they were 11-5. I do believe in Baker, contrary to some of my colleagues. So I am going to go with a hesitant over because the schedule is absolutely brutal and we know how tough the division is. But I do think they can maybe not match last year's 11 wins even with the extra game. But I think they can get to 10. So 10-7 feels about right. So I'm going to go over.
I'm going to go over too, especially if Clowney shows up. We've been waiting on this Clowney news. I'd like to see Clowney on the squad. Also, I want to see how, Jenna, the schedule plays out. If you have some of those hard games later in the year when you start to get the monsoons and the bugs, and it really gives Cleveland a home court. I would say home court. Home field advantage. I think that would work to their advantage. So over for me, Jenna.
All right, good stuff. Kevin, I'm going to send it back to you for some weird and some wonderful in the wide world of sports. What do you got for us, buddy?
Well, old Zach Greinke. You know, sometimes you're sitting around with your buddy, you say, hey, do you think you could hit a major league pitcher? You're like, no way. And your one drunk buddy's like, I could do it. I could hit 200 if Michael Jordan did it. And then you say, you know what? Zach Greinke's going to throw one in there 50 miles an hour. Maybe got a shot. Problem is, if this bet ever came to fruition and old Zach Greinke throws up an eephus pitch and you miss it, you probably owe your buddy a few rounds of beers. Hey, walk-off win. White Sox win when it looks like an errant throw. Nope, bounces off the helmet. Hey, quick parenting lesson that I'll drop into the show. If you're playing wiffle ball with your 6-year-old son, you gotta let him know that pegging exists. Because when you round up and hit him with the ball, he's totally confused and starts crying. Sorry, buddy, pegging, it exists. Doesn't exist in any other sport, but it's a little bit like dodgeball. Also works in the major leagues. I'm sure it was a rule in the 1800s. Maybe they should bring it back. That's an out. And just a bit outside, Javi Baez, here's the weird play. Javi Baez, great shortstop, just throws this one into the crowd. Everyone counts this as an error. Is it though? Or are you just being a great player, throwing a ball to the fan? Unfortunately, I think the net stopped it, but Javi Baez, always looking out for the fans, throws one out there. Great job, Javi. That's your weird and wonderful, Jenna.
Got away from him, that's it.
It's good stuff. Good stuff right there.